Welcome to Wargroove. In this episode, I'm actually narrating it after the fact. I have to because this was an exciting episode where I was able to stream snipe competitive player and Groove of War staff member Bazik. So Bazik was doing a Twitch stream and was joining live quick play queues. I joined queue at the exact same time and I was able to match up with them on stream. It was a lot of fun. So in this stream, Bazik was testing out the twins and trying twin shenanigans, so I decided to play the twins too, to do a twins mirror match against Bazik. Now, neither of us were super familiar with the map, and I don't think Bazik had ever played it before. So our opening, bear with us here, we might not have done it perfectly correctly. What I was thinking at the time was, alright, it's quick play, I should try to move quickly. I went for some early pikes to help take out those enemy villages that they start out there on the bottom. And I'm trying to move the twins to the center as quick as I can, using mostly swords to try to get the north villages. Now, Bazik, being mirrored to me and also playing the twins, goes for a pretty similar strategy here. They're trying to take villages with swords, but they don't make as many pikes as quickly as I did. If you'll notice, they're starting their first pike on this turn. They have a sword right now, so that might slow their pike's advancement by a turn. But they did elect to go for that early alchemist you see they just built. And additionally, their sword is closer to the corner village surrounded by mountains than I am. So already we have a little bit of a difference between our openings. My sword is still 2 turns from the mountain village, and Bazik will get it on there next. That alchemist means that Bazik is going to have a lot of anti-air pressure, and a little bit of threat pressure against my commander if I'm standing anywhere near the mountains and the forests towards the center of the map. Since flagstone on this map already inhibit air units a little bit in the center on the sides, I'm not sure how well you can see the flagstone because it is, after all, a winter map. And because of the winterness of the map, the flagstones look a little bit like destroyed road almost. But they are flagstones, air units will not be able to move past them. So I build an alchemist as well, and I'm trying to decide what I want in that bottom village. I go for a sword. Notice, so I have the rookery. I can start building air units right now on my next turn, but Bazik made a mage first. So they made a mage first, I made pikes first. Their mage is going to go forward first, my pikes are going to get forward first. We have more or less the same unit comps, but we built them in a different order. So notice my pikes can already start attacking the villages, whereas Bazik's pikes, not so much. There's one pike, it doesn't have a crit partner yet. Without that crit partner, it can't really move, attack, and crit all at once. Maybe it doesn't need to. It depends what they want to do, how they want to play this. Alright, so I've been talking a lot, but why does any of that matter? The order in which we build things, I'll tell you why. It matters because it's going to give us different advantages and disadvantages. The early mage will give Bazik center control of the center of the map, pressure that might lead to tempo. If Bazik can use this pressure to control what I do, I could be at a disadvantage. They might be able to threaten my HQ, for example. If they can threaten my HQ, my stronghold, they can force me to defend it and stop me from capturing properties, from making moves. I could be put at a disadvantage. On the other hand, if I'm able to use all these pikes to get a very strong foothold... Oh, let me just mention, I chose not to attack that turn because the pike is a valuable unit. I want to soften up that village with my sword first, and then use the pike crit to take it. That was the reason I didn't attack. Don't worry, guys, that wasn't a misclick. So, in any case, Bazik will get center pressure first. Their commander got to the center first. Their mage is going to get to the center first. They built another mage, so that double mage threat is going to give them big power in the center. If their commander's weak, they can heal it. Their commander can safely attack my commander. So what I decide to do against all these mages is I build a knight. Why am I building a knight? Well, knights are great into alchemists. I also build my own alchemist. So now we both have 2 alchemists, but I have a knight. And I have a knight first, so I'm hoping that'll let me catch up the pressure. However, look where I built the knight. I didn't build it to go to the center, I built it down there. The reason is I want to use the knight to help me whack these villages. I'm actually not going for center pressure, I'm going for economy. Economy is villages, getting money each turn. I want to try to take away Bazik's economy and get some for myself. So even though I built the pikes first, because of how I moved, Bazik was actually able to take my village up top before I was able to take their village down low. However, I have a lot of really strong units here. I have double pikes already moved forward. I've got a knight there, I've got a sword there. I've got a good little contingent that I'm going to use to pressure the bottom of the map throughout the game. This only works, of course, if I don't lose out in the north and the center. You can kind of divide this map into 3 parts. At least that's how I was thinking at the time. Alright, but before I go into that, let's talk about what we're going to do about these villages. I'm trying to figure out the best way to attack it. I decide, actually, it doesn't make any sense to use the pikes on this, because the knight can just finish it off after the sword weakened it, so I just keep moving my pikes forward. I keep marching them forward. Now my sword can finally take that corner village, and I'm doing pretty good from an income perspective. Maybe now that we've sort of finished the capture phase on turn 5. I mean, we haven't exactly finished yet. Bazik still needs to uncap and take one more village on top from me. I need to do the same to them on the bottom. But the capture phase is mostly over. We're going to start fighting soon. So I built a balloon to enable me to get units to the fight faster. Then I built a dog because it's pretty cheap, and I'm thinking I can use that dog pretty well against all the swords. Then I make a second knight, and this one is meant to go to the center of the map. Knights are a little bit of an interesting unit. Strictly speaking, from a money perspective, they don't add up. A knight is unlikely to do 600 gold worth of damage before it dies, and it costs 600 gold. Think about it, even if you one-shot an alchemist, if you lose the knight, you lost that trade. But knights give you so much pressure and power, and their high movement speed lets you make more complicated attacks and counterattacks. They're great for taking villages. So even if your opponent has a lot of pikes, a knight still has a place in this game. It's a very powerful unit not to be underestimated. I love knights. I always win more when I build more knights, even if I shouldn't. Knights are my bread and butter. Is there a unit that works for you? Maybe you have that special unit that you just have that intuition with. Even when they don't make sense, you just know if you build this unit, you can play it better than anyone. Let me know in the comments below if you have a favorite unit. That being said, of course, my favorite unit is dragons. I mean, come on. Alright, so we were talking about dividing the map into thirds, the north, the center, and the south. The center of the map is kind of the pressure zone. If you control the center, just like in chess, you can easily deploy your units anywhere else on the map. For that reason, the center is very valuable, especially if you want to suddenly change fronts and mess with your opponent. That being said, the other lanes are very important for economy. You can see a lot of the villages aren't in the center, they're in the north and south. So I want to control the north and south and stop my opponent from taking villages away from me. So I'm positioning this sword, even though I know the pikes can get to it, in such a way that if they do, I can counterattack them with my knight, my alchemist, and wipe them out. I'm completely planning on fighting them if I need to. So once again, I use my weakened sword, or I'm thinking about using my weakened sword, to do big damage to that village. I use that pike to capture that village, that pike to take out that village, and now my knight can go all the way over there through the villages and take that village out. You see how awesome that knight was. Now I've just denied my opponent 2 villages, and I'm in a great position because none of those alchemists or swords can stand up to my pike. I put the dog there so the swords wouldn't be able to attack it. The balloon is blocking them. Balloons are not just good for transporting units, they're great for blocking as well. Only the mages can hit the balloon, and they're too far away. I decide to build another dog here to go very aggressive into those swords. I'm building lots of dogs, because dogs are cheap, good against swords, they're good against mages as well. They're not great against mages because mages can do as much or more damage to the dogs as you do to a mage. It's mostly just a gold trade-off, like, haha, I can threaten your 400 gold mage with my measly 150 gold dog. That's the idea. However, dogs are still really useful and really cheap, and that gave me enough gold to build a witch. Now, why did I want a witch? My opponent has all mages, and their only air units are balloons. One reason I built the witch was that I noticed I hadn't been making enough mages myself. It's very risky not to have sufficient anti-air. Your opponent can use air to harass you, to mess with you, to block your spaces. And I was a little bit afraid for the twins. A witch is also very good for threatening the enemy commander, because that's an extra 10% you can do to them, and if you kill the enemy commander, you win the game. So it's good to have a witch around. I like keeping a witch on the table at all times. It might not have been great into this comp, like, oh, my opponent is double mage and has almost no air, let me build a witch. But it'll also give me air superiority later if I can deal with the mages. And also, I want my opponent to build more mages so that my knights have something to attack. I mean, think about it. If they go all pikes, I have air units. Haha. If they go all mages, I have knights. So I have something that can deal with them, hopefully, no matter what they do. Now, notice my opponent got a little bit overeager because they did not build a knight. Notice that black village on the top right? Do you see it? They still haven't taken it away from me. They still haven't taken it and captured it. That's income that's mine. Instead, because they were delayed on the pikes, because they didn't build a knight there, they weren't able to take that village. They just rushed right up to the north center village and took it away just like my knight took theirs away. But as a result, I still control one village on their side of the map. That's an income advantage. And I'm going to leverage that income advantage throughout the game. Because if I have more money than you, I can build more expensive things. Maybe even get an extra build in once in a while if I build cheap things. So we're going to try to see that come into play. But keep in mind, an income advantage of like 1 or 200 extra gold, it doesn't mean a ton in the mid-game. You're trading villages all the time. Your opponent can catch up. It might not even make a difference at all as long as they can catch you. But if we can stop Bazik from recovering that income deficit, if we can stay ahead all game, it adds up. 200 gold is the income advantage you get from a village taken from your opponent and owned by you. Because that's one less they have and one more you have, so it's a 200 gold lead. So 200 gold over 3 turns is a free knight. Think about that. That's how valuable owning a village for 3 turns is. It could be a free knight that your opponent does not get. Pretty powerful, right? So my opponent just put like a bunch of swords over here. And I see that pike, but it's a little bit far away from the swords. So that tells me that maybe I can attack into these swords and do a lot of damage here. I can definitely take that village right below my knight with these pikes. I'm thinking about the best way to do it. I realize that I don't even need a crit to take this out. I decide to attack these swords with my knight because it's very safe, very free. Obviously, if you go for the one that's not standing on the mountain, you do way more damage. Of course, it could heal, but then the village next to it will be super low, and if it doesn't heal, I can kill it soon. So either way, great damage on the sword. Even if the sword isn't that valuable a unit, the swords will come into play later as body blocks, and they can be very, very annoying. For real, like, I'm in a game right now where swords are just blocking my powerful units from getting to their powerful units, and I'm like, I want to kill these swords, but I can't. The counterattack is too severe. So don't underestimate the power of killing your opponent's swords early. That's so important. If your opponent gives you a free sword, take it right then. Kill that sword. They will regret daring to allow you to destroy their sword. Alright, so I see those 2 pikes in the north. I decided to move the dog, the knight. Look at my north units there. Dog, knight, mage, sword. I'm ready to fight those pikes. I don't want them to take my north villages. I want to control the economy. So I'm fighting in the south and winning. I'm ready to fight in the north. In the mid, I'm kind of losing. My opponent has like pikes and balloons and all this stuff. I'm just backing up. I'm just trying to make it so they can't hit me. The thing is, I just want to stall in the center, right? I just want to prevent a fight from happening. Because that's not what I'm attacking right now. I'm attacking the north and the south, and most of my troops are in the south. I'm trying to get a few villages ahead in the south. We talked about that. Own an extra village for 3 turns, free knight, right? Big advantage. So my goal is to win in the south, come even in the north, and just hold on in the mid. It's a little bit risky because, like I said, the mid is usually critically important. But we'll see how it turns out. I'm being very careful that I'm out of most of their units' range, and any of the units that can attack me can't do very much. Notice how, because of the terrain, for example, the twins can't hit my knight. The mages can... One of the mages can hit the twins, but they don't have terrain to do it on. So, take a look. They're attacking into me. Right? The sword is going forward. The pikes on the bottom are threatening out my knight. They're trying to do a lot to drive me away, to scare me. But I don't know if I'm going to be scared. They just killed one of my swords on top and on the bottom. So I'm 2 swords down. But notice the position of my alchemist in the north. I can stand on that mountain and murder one of the pikes. So pretty good positioning. I think I can counterattack on the north. And remember, if they took a sword and I take a pike, win. Big win. We're even on unit count and I killed a much more valuable unit, and pikes are slow. It'll take a long time to get another pike back there. You have to balloon it at the very least. That being said, it's no problem for Bazik, who now has a witch and 3 balloons. I only have 2 balloons. And all those mages. I don't have as many mages as Bazik does. And my mages, they have 2 in the center and 1 coming in. They just built it. I have 1 in the north and 1 sort of center south. So it's, I'm not winning the air fight right now, but I'm not trying to just yet. Again, I'm just trying to hold on in the center. Because those pikes that are just standing there all menacingly, they're not doing anything. Those alchemists have just been standing there for a few turns. The twins have just been facing off for a few turns, and that's fine because that's not where I'm fighting. Alright, so I obliterate that pike, and then I'm thinking, alright, let me weaken this one a little bit so it can't, attack into my mage. Great, we do big damage to the pike. We've pretty much scared them away from that village. I keep thinking, should I attack into this? But the answer is no. They have too many troops in the center. That's not where I'm fighting. That's not where I'm strong. It just does not make sense for me to attack into that. So I need to figure out the right combination of movements and attacks to do the most possible damage and not let my knight get hit by pikes. By putting the pike there, it doesn't take much damage, and the sword can take a lot of damage. Then I can hit it with the pike and then chain for a pike crit. Maybe. But keep in mind, if I do that, then my pike could get pike crit. There's all these risks and conditions in everything you do. And that sword is on a mountain, so I'll take a little bit of counterattack damage, but in the end, it's not a bad trade. Now, if I move the sword in, I can shield my knight on that side, and now the pike can't take it out. Protecting my knight is very important. That's a 600 gold knight. If they were to take out that knight, I lose this trade unquestionably. And I'd lose my most powerful unit there. I wouldn't be able to press the attack. So that's why I put the dog there and didn't use it to attack or anything. Because if I used it to attack, then they might be able to take the dog out, hit the knight. Wouldn't it be great? So I told you I like dragons, right? I really like dragons. I build dragons even sometimes when I shouldn't. A dragon is a very useful unit because it can cross fronts. It can go from the north to the south very quickly. It can go from mid to anywhere in a single turn. If you need to switch fronts or threaten multiple fronts at the same time, a dragon can be used. It's like 2 units. That's why it's so expensive. But because a dragon is so expensive, because a dragon is so useful, we suffer from the problem where the dragon is countered by something called a mage. That's right. A little 400 gold mage can scare away a big mighty dragon. It's unfortunate, right? Hashtag nerf mages make dragons invincible. No, I'm just kidding. So because of that, you can't just build dragons carelessly. You can't just mass dragons. And you need to make sure building a dragon doesn't make you fall down on unit count. But I had enough gold to make some pikes, so I figured, alright, I'll make the dragon. I decided to make it in the south because that's where I'm strongest. That's where I have the most units. I'm winning in the north too, but my opponent just built a witch in the north. So, maybe not the best place for dragon. Besides, my rookery is in the south. And that's one of the reasons I chose to fight in the south. I have a rookery and a barracks there. That's where my production is. So that's where I can deploy troops and reinforce troops the fastest. I can get more troops in there. I've got all these villages in the south that I control, I can heal off of, right? And my opponent's stronghold is in the south. So if I get close enough to their stronghold, I can threaten them, create like a tempo situation where if they move the wrong way, I win the game, so they have to cluster around their stronghold, and then I can take a lot of free units. Now my opponent, using their infinite supply of balloons, have built a 4 pike line to try to stop me from pressing forward, and that's going to be the biggest threat to my advance. I've got to get rid of that 4 pike line somehow. There's 1,000 gold of pikes, plus a balloon. It's, oh my goodness. Not to mention the twins, some pikes, and the witch were all pressing forward. They just dropped another pike and a mage in the north. They killed the sword that I used to weaken that pike, so now I'm losing in unit count in the north fight. It's not looking so good for me on this turn, really. It's really looking quite bad. But keep in mind, those two alchemists and the twins and those two pikes have just been sitting there so far for a few turns. So we've been making them stand off. We've been making them not do much. To be fair, I've had like a knight standing off too, and a dog. I've had my own share of units that haven't really been doing anything. But also keep in mind, I still control that black village on Bazik's north side. Look at the north right, every time it shows up, there's a black village there. They still haven't taken it away from me. They skipped that. They missed that. I forced them to move forward too quickly. So as a result of this, I've been ahead on income this whole time. Alright, so I use my pike to soften up this pike, and then I use my knight to finish it off, because a knight that doesn't take counterattack damage from the pike can totally attack a pike. That's fine. I use the dog to hit that pike, so a more powerful unit maybe can go for the one on the road. Now notice my dragon can't reach, unfortunately. So I need to get rid of that balloon so that my dragon can reach. There was flagstone in the way, in case you didn't know. It's hard to see, the dog is standing on flagstone. That's why the dragon couldn't reach unless I killed the balloon with my mage. Now, I'm still not entirely sure how I want to do this, because strictly speaking, my opponent has a witch and a bunch of alchemists, and really if I want a pike crit, I can only pike crit their pike in the forest, and I want to do a lot of damage to minimize the counterattack. But obviously, if I put a dragon in there and an alchemist can just YOLO my dragon, I have not minimized the counterattack, right? Also, I'm worried now they're going to start advancing on my stronghold, they might get tempo on me. So I start building a lot of pikes around my stronghold, and I kill this balloon. I understand I might be sacrificing my mage for it, but I just want to slow down their attack in the north. I don't want them to get to my stronghold. And trading a mage for a balloon means I'm up 50 gold, theoretically. A balloon can't attack, but I decided it was worth it. I move my dragon forward, but in a spot that it's safe, and I use the balloon as a body block and move the twins in such a way that they can maybe contribute to the fight if those alchemists go in. So in this way, I prevent my dragon from being attacked, but it's still threatening that area. I've killed 2 of their pikes and weakened 1, so I've very much limited that pike line, its ability to counterattack me. And I'm moving a lot of units closer to the south, but still in range of the north, because again, if they go for my stronghold, I need to defend it. I want to make sure I'm out of the range of their units, but I can still contribute where I'm needed. And that's why I have this weird formation where the knight is like hanging around in the middle there, because it'll crit anything that stands to the right of the village near my twins, and it's a whole thing, guys. It's a whole thing. They can't attack me. I'm threatening where they want to move. That's the idea. So I've got this huge army in the south. I've got 3 pikes, though some of them are wounded. I've got a mage, I've got a dragon, I've got a witch. I also have my twins who are sort of guarding them from the safety of that forest behind the village, and I have 2 pikes that are about to be incoming on a balloon on my next turn so I can reinforce a position. I don't know at this point in the game if I'm going to end up reinforcing my stronghold or my attack in the south. It looks like I've lost the north, but they still haven't taken that one black village. So as a result of that, I'm still up on income. Being up on income is pretty good. Remember, that's a knight every 3 turns. And I've been up on this income for how many turns? Has it been like 6? So have I gotten like 2 free knights? So I lose the mage. I lose the mage in exchange for the balloon. We knew that was coming. But now those pikes up top are slowed. They're really slowed. It might not matter if they can steal some villages from me, but it's okay. I've slowed them down. I stopped them from attacking my stronghold. That's what I wanted to do. Now they go for a witch hex here, which is unfortunate. They get a lot of my units, do some good damage. But it's not that bad, and I really limited their counterattack, so there's not a lot they can do. They decide to use that pike to set up a pike crit on my mage, taking it out. Unfortunately, that means that I'd have to use my witch to attack their witch, and as you know, a witch doesn't kill a witch. But their alchemist could totally kill my witch on the counterattack. Big damage. A dog sort of counters a sword, so that didn't do a ton to me, but it did enough. And if you look at the situation, it doesn't really look like I'm winning this fight right now. It looks like I'm rather losing this fight right now. But keep in mind, they just put units in range of my twins, of my commander. So if I can attack things with my commander, whereas my opponent has not been able to do that, I can get Groove Charge first. That's pretty big. All right, so I took really heavy losses this turn. I'm suddenly outnumbered on the front I was strongest at. There are troops outside my HQ. I've been up on income, and I'm still up on unit count, sort of, but only because Bazik hadn't built this turn yet. They've pretty much evened it out. It's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. And I think I've killed enough of their balloons at this point that, like, I actually have more balloons now, so my unit count is partly transportation. So it's not looking great. They have a bigger force in the north than I do. They built another balloon so that they can press forward more quickly. But I think my ability to slow them down in the north worked. Because if I slowed them down enough, then maybe I can make something happen. So I realize that I have Night Crit on that pike, but I don't really know if I want to use it because, yeah, I lost a dog, which is lost unit count, which is not good. You're not supposed to do that, but doing it that way lets my twins come in and attack that pike. And now my dragon can crit the mage that was on the road. So you see, like, a lot of good things are happening. I do big damage to the witch. The reason I couldn't kill the balloon there was because witch crit doesn't work on something being protected by a witch. So as a result of that, I couldn't crit the balloon, so my witch couldn't kill it. But I killed damn near everything else. And yes, I might lose my witch if their alchemist decides to go in, but that's fine. I double dropped 2 pikes here, and suddenly their army in the south has disappeared. Did you think that was going to happen this turn when you saw how that was situated? I don't know about that. I don't know. So now that I've completely destroyed them in the south, look how close I am to their stronghold. They can't attack my stronghold now. My stronghold is surrounded by pikes. Because I killed their balloon, they're too many turns away. They had to build a replacement balloon for it. They can't attack this fast enough. I'm thinking, what should I make here? What's defensive? I could make a ranger, and that'll scare away the pikes. So now if those pikes get too close, I can snipe them, right? And also, look, I've got that very mobile dragon that can suddenly shift fronts and go defend the stronghold. I build another dragon that can do the same thing. I build a dog that I can put in the balloon. Bazik has a ton of gold. They might have missed a build last turn. I don't know if they run out of time. Yeah, they might have run out of time and missed a few builds last turn. It looks like they made a balloon, but nothing from the racks. At any rate, I'm way ahead of income because of that turn. Not just the missing builds, but the huge damage we did in the south. And Bazik finally realized that I've had that village all game. So Bazik does big damage to try to take it back. But as a result of that, ended up retreating the pikes, and those pikes are taking some damage. Meanwhile, I've got this massive force just pushing on their stronghold. They have to answer that. They can't attack me anymore. They can't risk going in on my stronghold. So Bazik used all that gold they've been saving and made a golem. That's a little bit worrisome, because a golem can be very powerful when surrounded by mages, which kill its only counter air units. And Bazik has a ton of mages. I only have 2 knights to deal with the mages. That seems like a lot, but giants counter knights. Giants counter dang near everything. The only thing I have working in my favor right now is sheer numbers and a few dragons. It's actually looking pretty good for me until they did that. Now I have 1 dragon that's really far away and a half-dead dragon. But that's okay. They've pretty much killed one of their mages to do that. This witch is definitely going to die, so I'm going to be able to kill everything that attacked me and press forward. It's just what I'm pressing forward with is ragged. Look how beaten up my pikes are. My dragon is near dead. My witch has taken big damage. My knight is weak. This isn't exactly the crack assault team here I want to attack the stronghold, but we're doing pretty good. They can't attack me. Those pikes in the center are kind of just not happening. So since they backed off here, I'm going to advance as much as I can. Even if they attack into me, they won't be able to succeed in really doing anything. I'm tempted to go in with the dog, but I choose not to because this is just straight up, like, I take so much damage from that. I probably should have done it, really, because I want them to attack me. That's my goal here. So at any rate, I'm trying to think of the order I should do things, because I want to take out these villages, I want to take out the alchemist, I want to give the twins... Well, they don't even need groove anymore, they have groove, I just have no reason to use it yet, because, like, if I plop cooling water down here, that might be good for my weakened dudes, but on the other hand, I want to push forward quickly before that golem gets going. I'm thinking about using the knight to just take out one of the alchemists, and I do it, because it is a 7 knight. So a 7 knight is 70% of a knight. That's 70 gold for every 6. So 6 times 7, do the math, that's about the worth of an alchemist, and I'm ahead. So I definitely want to make that trade. Also, I'm not even sure they can kill the knight, because the giant can't reach it. The twins have to do it, so maybe alchemist twins could do it, but alchemist attacking into a knight is not always the best idea. In any case, I figure that'll give me some good pressure here. I'm mounting an attack. I want to make every trade I can. I'm pressing my pikes forward. I'm trying to go around all this mountains, all this terrain. I balloon drop a dog. I make another something here. I make another witch because they've got a lot of those balloons, and I don't know if I can get an elk there in time. Plus, if I get enough witches, that's a lot of hexes. That's pressure against their commander, right? Also, if I have too many air units, they're forced to build mages to stop all my air units. And as a result of that, they have to build these squishy mages into my giant attacking army. That's not going to go over well, right? So when you're ahead like this, when you're pressing your attack, air units can be very powerful. Sure enough, the twins do go into my knight, but they choose not to finish it off to give the twins more groove. They choose to use the twins to attack it so that they don't take so much counterattack damage, which the alchemist would have. They're retreating the golem a little bit because they're afraid that my dragon can just eat it, and they moved it onto flagstone and put a mage there. They're trying to bait my dragon deep so that they can mage strike the dragon, and then without my dragon I'll have a little bit less threat, because notice a lot of my army is these very slow pikes. Most of them have been damaged. I could drop cooling water here, but cooling water kind of retracts around a center point, and I want to advance, so I'd have to put it into their territory. It'd be a little weird. I didn't want to do that just yet. Besides, I was thinking I could maybe like throw fire onto their barracks to prevent them from building anything or something like that. The twins are pretty gimmicky when you get this close to your opponent. You can like throw fire on their stronghold and then attack the stronghold over multiple turns, and there is nothing your opponent can do to stop you, but it's a little bit suicidal. And if they get around the fire, they can kill you, and you're throwing away a lot of units into fire, so it has to work. You can throw fire on your opponent's barracks if you can get close enough, and after like a turn or two, they can't build anything out of that barracks, but they can still build stuff out of their other barracks and their rookery. Bazik is taking a little bit of time on this turn, but that's okay, because I've got a ton of strategies I'm going over. Alright, so as for me, I'm in a pretty great position here. Their twins are kind of vulnerable. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't really crit them with my knight. I'm checking that right now. And my dragon can sort of hit them, but it's like it wouldn't do a ton of damage. I really just want to end their stronghold. In any case, I get a free archer shot on that pike, and then I can finish it off with a dog. This is pretty much a free pike for me. And I can just like march forward as much as possible with my pikes here in the north, because they can't really do much. The harpy worries me a bit, but if they want to send that harpy after my troops, they have to ignore the fact that I'm attacking their stronghold, which wouldn't be the best idea in the world. Plus, I have a ton of witches, and I could easily move them up to deal with the harpy. So we're pretty good on that front. Honestly, at this point, I have a shit ton of stuff, and I'm pressing on their stronghold. If I lose, it's on me. This is a good situation. This is the kind of situation you want to be in. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to go about this. Now, I realize I do have 1 knight crit on the stronghold. I'm trying to see if I should take it, and I decide to take it. Now, here I could go... I can't dragon strike the front of the stronghold due to the fact that there is a balloon on the... a balloon on the bottom and flagstone in front of it. I went for the twin attack. It was a bit of an RNG roll, but the odds weren't that bad, and on top of that, if that didn't work, I could follow up with some other things, and I'd definitely kill it next turn. So yeah, that's GG. That was a pretty good game. I think the reason we won that was mainly that fight in the south, and the fact that we were able to delay Bazik's center push. A lot of their units were sitting in the center for too long. They weren't able to go after my stronghold. And when we were able to turn the tides in the south after Bazik dedicated forces there, we just had too many troops pushing on their stronghold. Too many of their troops were trapped in the north, couldn't get down in time, couldn't make it in time. At the end of the day, we were able to win one critical fight and prevent a fight at our disadvantage. A fight in the center would have been bad for us. A fight in the north wouldn't have been great after we had been pushed out. But we got to fight where we were strong, and we won the fight. And then at that point, it was GG. Alright, that's it for this match. Great game, Bazik, and welcome to Wargroove. Oh, and as always, if you have any questions for me or suggestions, just drop them in the comment box below. I've been a little slower with videos lately due to increase in work because the corona, oh my goodness. That being said, hopefully I'll be able to get you out some more videos real soon and show you some more awesome quick play matches. Stay tuned.